So now that we are getting a hang of the edit page, now let's learn something really interesting, which are the titles. So how you can find the titles, you go here in the effects, and here on the left hand side you can find titles. DaVinci Resolve has a lot of titles, but the most common and the basic one, what I use, is this one, basic title. And how you can use it, you just click on it and drag and drop on the timeline here. So let's say we want to put a title here, and you can of course change the size. So title works as exact same as any video or audio clip. So you can just, change the length. You can also fade the title in like this, and you can also fade it out like so. But now let's just keep it as a normal basic title. So this is a basic title, and of course once you have selected the title, then if you go on the right hand side, then you can do all sort of changes in the title. Of course there's a box, you can just do say test. In this box, whatever you change, let's say DaVinci Resolve I can do. So if you can just do it in DaVinci Resolve, you can just write whatever you want, and here you can change 2 different fonts. I'll just keep it to Arial. You can also change bold, normal mode, so yeah, and then you can change the size, everything. So it's really simple, quite simple to understand. You can change the colors, you can also change the font so that you can do all caps, or you can do mixed as how I wrote. You can change the alignment, position, you can change the zoom, rotation, everything, and stroke as well you can change. So what stroke is you see if I increase this, then you can see this stroke coming on the borders of the text. I don't really like it. What I like it is something called as drop shadow. So drop shadow, it kind of casts a shadow just under the text. So how do you do it? You go to drop shadow. If you go to X, then the shadow would be on the X-axis, Let's do the shadow here, and if I do Y, then the shadow goes on the Y-axis. Let's do it here. But I think that the shadow is a bit too harsh. So what I can do is I can reduce the opacity. So now if I do full screen, you can see it really nice. So there is a shadow, it's a bit of subtle shadow, and it looks really nice. Of course, you can change the blur as well. So now it's too blurred, now it's too solid. So yeah, you can play around with a lot of things. You can also change the background. So, like you might have seen this on social media that, that you can change the background like this. So you can increase the height, you can change the width. I think the outline width, I'll just move it to 0. You can also change the color of everything. So everything is really straightforward when we do the basic title. What DaVinci Resolve has done now is that, for example, if I want DaVinci Resolve here, right? And if I want another text underneath DaVinci Resolve, let's say video editing, right? But I want this text to be of a different font. So of course I can do it here by selecting the text, that whatever change I make, it's gonna be here, and then I can change the color. But then I have to keep selecting this all the time. I have to keep selecting this video editing all the time, because if I don't, then the changes, whatever change I would make, would be on the entire timeline. And of course I cannot really change I can change the size, but you can see that the other text is going up and outside the screen. So it's a bit of tedious process. So now what DaVinci Resolve has done is that here in this basic text, you can just do one text. What DaVinci Resolve has done is you can do almost multiple text, you can do really multiple text in one box. So let's just click it out. This is really cool, and I use it in a lot of reels, in a lot of YouTube videos. So here you can do, say, DaVinci Resolve. Let's make the V capital because that's how it is, DaVinci Resolve. Yep. And we can do whatever changes. Let's do Arial. I can make it bold as well. Maybe just leave the color to here. Yep. Okay. And then if I want to add another text, what you can do, you can just do add text. And there is another text. And this text is totally independent of the DaVinci Resolve, which stands on the top of it. So let's do video editing. And then I can change the font to, yeah, any font I want. Let's do Bangor, so it's a bit funny. I can change the size of this. So you see, if I'm changing the size of this, the DaVinci Resolve is not changing at all. I can also change the color of this. So that is, I think, really cool. And you can add a lot of multiple text in this panel. And if you want to delete them, you can just delete it like this. But now we want to do some more things because it looks nice in my opinion now, but now we want to do something else. So let's go on in layout. And in layout, of course, you see that my video editing is selected here, so I can change the position. I can change the size of this. This is the max. And I can change the perspective. No, I don't know what that means. I can change the rotation. So you can change the rotation. You can change the rotation on the y-axis. You can change the rotation on the z-axis. So it kind of gives a 3D overview. And same thing, if we go click on DaVinci, we can do the exact same thing for DaVinci. And now let's go on to shading. So you can do the same thing here. Let's select something. So of course, here you can change the color of everything. You can also change the softness. So if you want to make it a bit blurry, you can do it. You can also, what you can do is you can put keyframing. So, in the beginning it's blurry, in later it's not. And you can also do outline. So outline is, if we go here, you can see this, that looks really nice. You can do outline as well. And you can of course change the thickness. So yeah, there's a lot of things to play around. And of course you can do shadows as well. So you can do enable, and that is only for video editing. So we are not really touching the top. You can of course change the X and the Y axis. And of course you can change the opacity. You can change a lot of other things. So let's keep the X here as how they recommend. Now I'll press Z. So yeah, that is multi-text in DaVinci Resolve, which is a new feature and I absolutely love it. But now, if you want to do an overall change on this entire thing, then you can just go on the setting and treat this as a normal video clip. So you can zoom in, zoom out, change the position, rotation. You can also change the opacity, like this. You can also do some animation with the positions, how we did with the keyframing, that here the text can be outside and then here the text can come to its original place. And then when we can go to keyframe, we go to the graph here, we change the parameter, we change the position of x-axis, and then you can just select everything and bam. And now just in 2 seconds we have a text animation. So that's how you can do multiple text in DaVinci. And of course, if you want to change anything internal, you go to titles.